Ah, right. Okay. So yeah, it's a bit late to get a new release for this. I mean, we would have to test it anyway, so it's not realistic. And even if we were able to push it out today, it's not giving enough time to people to actually update. So it's way too risky. So we would probably do this later down the road. It's not a huge issue in the sense that, I mean, gas fees are pretty low even for, like, since Gnosis Chain has existed, the normal fees for like transaction, I mean, the burned ones don't exceed like 100,000. So that's over a few years. So probably, I mean, it's not going to be that much. Yeah, Marek, go ahead, please.
Do you think we should organize custom fork only for this or for fixing this, or we should include it basically the next occasion? How do you think about this?
So we were also talking about this, and basically there's probably going to be another fork, another hard fork for bridge-related updates. So in this case, we would bundle those two together. They would be a smallish fork, but yeah, probably not wait until Electra.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I guess there's not much more to say about that. Erigon and Nethermind clearly do it the same way, or there would be a hard fork on Shadow and the DevDets. So at least that's something, I guess. So talking about Shadow forks, has there been an update regarding the mainnet one?
No, unfortunately not. We still have the nodes syncing after this much time. That they are still syncing, basically.
Okay. Do you know why that is? Because I'm pretty sure it shouldn't take like weeks
Yeah,
to sync.
that's the issue. I can see the node has been very close to the head of the chain for quite some time. Most of them spent on the like 10 step of the Erigon phase while syncing. So not sure that they seem to be advancing on logs. It's just like they don't catch up. I will try sending the link to Fortman here. They're like they show like being 1,000 or 2,000 logs behind the head of the chain, but they don't catch up yet.
That's quite strange. So that's just the Ergon nodes?
Yeah.
And like no IOPS issues or whatever, like memory, RAM.
It has happened on kind of like 5 machines there with quite high resources. Like we use those normally to sync mainnet for Nethermind, so it's kind of weird that it would be some EUPS issue or something with the infra. So yeah, that's the main problem there.
Are you talking with someone from Erigon about this?
No, they don't show any issues. I'm not sure if they didn't have any especially to report there, but guess probably they can look more closely into these nodes.
Yeah, it would probably be good to give them access to those like servers and then have them look into it, because that sounds very weird. Okay, so regarding mainnet then, like do we have all the tooling in place, the logging metrics, forkmon, all those things?
For nodes, no, we don't have right now prepared for nodes for the for monitoring the hard fork. We are I'm been preparing the shadow fork one, so guess in the worst case we could use those, but still like you can try at least syncing the Nethermind nodes with the same setup, but right now we don't have it.
Okay. So the hard fork is in 5 days. Would be nice to have like all the combinations. Maybe all of them are bits too much, but at least like all the consensus layer nodes and of course Nethermind and Erigon. So maybe 4 different nodes should be a good start, and have metrics and logs ready for all of those. I will also look with our internal DevOps, of course, for this specifically. And then for common and all of this, I suppose we still have from, I mean, we're running January, right? So yeah, if Nethermind, you could send links to like the tools you have internally, so that we basically, well, and I will post those we have at Gnosis, so that we basically have all the monitoring that we have available, so that everyone can have a look at it during the hard fork or before or after or whatever, if there is a need for it. But yeah, you can post those on Telegram. Are there any other concerns for mainnet?
You should clarify, we are postponing the fix.
Yes. Or, I mean, unless everyone here thinks that we can do it in time, but knowing that we will have at most a few days for people to update, I think it's too risky at this point.
I mean, what we will have to do is cancel the fork, fix it, and then do it later.
Yeah. But even canceling the fork, that means people have to update nodes, right? So at that point, it's the same issue.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see this happening anyways. So we will just live with it. The only bad thing kind of is that the DAO will lose access to some funds potentially, and we can get them back at any time. So it's really not that big of an issue.
But in next hard fork, we will have to like recover the funds that were burned, or what's?
No, we will not care about them. I mean, anyways, the funds are there on the bridge, and we can prove all the funds that have been burned from like the dead code hard fork to the next hard fork, and then we can open a GIP to say, I mean, if you want to recover the funds. So it's not a big issue.
Okay.
It's a bit annoying. It just complicates the rules a bit, but whatever. We have to deal with it. Would it be possible to do a Hive test for this specific case?
Generally, yes, but I'm not sure if Marcus is let me ping him offline.
Yeah, it is a bit dumb because then we have to have like this exception in the nodes. Yeah, Andrew.
Well, in Erigon, at least there is a flag to override Cancun, so potentially we could use that to virtually delay Cancun on Gnosis Chain. So it doesn't require an update of Erigon, but it requires everybody to use that flag to virtually cancel Cancun. Not sure whether that's feasible.
I mean, knowing that we have a lot of like users that use DAppNode and things like that, we would have to get DAppNode packages out that have this new flag and then update it, and that just sounds a bit too complicated, I think, for the 5 days we have left.
I see.
I would prefer doing a small hard fork to fix that in like few weeks or something, rather than canceling that. Just fixing it ASAP if that's important.
Yeah, I think that's the best option. So we can, I mean, it should be an easy fix. We can do the tests on the DevNet we have currently, and then like plan it in a month or something, and that should be sufficient. It will just be like an additional code path, which is a bit of a shame, but I guess we can use like a blob fee collector or something. And then that should not be too disgusting, hopefully. All right, so I guess for mainnets, there's nothing more to say. Regarding Hive tests, are there any news? But I guess Marcus is not here. Igor, maybe?
No updates regarding the Hive tests.
All right, regarding Shutter?
Yeah, we made some decent progress there. I think Mark will have more updates on it.
Yeah, so we made some progress with P2P. Like the P2P connection is mostly working, and now we're working on, or I'm working just integrating the different parts together. And then I'm going to set up like a test validator on Shiado once I've like fixed various problems that arise.
So how close are we to like actually being able to test like the whole flow?
I would guess like in a week or two, hopefully, like I should at least have the validator running, I think, but yeah.
So in a week or two, we have like the base, like the full spec that is currently defined for Shutter.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on, I guess that like, yeah, I imagine that there'll still be various like problems and stuff. But I think sort of end to end, like most of the parts are in place. It's just sort of like fixing stuff that comes up, and like I think there still need to be updates to the keepers and other parts of the design as well.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. All right then. Regarding just client updates, Nethermind or Marek, sorry.
Yeah, I have one ask maybe. Could you, Philippe, or someone from Gnosis, explain to everyone? I have some knowledge, but maybe not enough. What's going on with these funds with fee collector? Or what is the, general flow with this? Yeah, we might build more knowledge in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I mean, for the fee collector specifically, so on Ethereum, of course, burned fees are burned, right? The issue is that on Gnosis Chain, so the native token is XDAI. XDAI is like comes from mainnet. So all the XDAI that is currently on Gnosis Chain comes from mainnet and is locked in the bridge. So tokens that are burned on Gnosis Chain, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to burn those tokens because they still exist in the bridge, and then they will, I mean, we just lose access to them for no reason. So the idea of having this fee collector is to get the burned fees, like the burned XDAI fees, and then use them later on to do GNO buybacks, which we are starting to explore because we are starting to get enough XDAI for it to be worth, like enough burned fees for it to make sense. And the idea is to then buy back GNO, and then we kind of get to something quite similar to Ethereum in the sense that the GNO supply will go down technically, like the Ethereum supply does for burned fees. And then we kind of emulate this system, without having to like buy back GNO on every transaction. Exactly, and then we looked at the codes for Nethermind, and this apparently is where it happens. So the only difference with the mainnet is that if this EIP 1559 fee collector is enabled, and of course EIP 1559 is enabled, then we increment some balance of the fee collector by the amount of the burn fees, and that's all of it. And the only thing that has to change is that we also increment to this the spent gas on blobs, which of course is fixed, times the base fee per blob, or I'm not exactly sure how that variable is called, but like the fee you pay for blobs, basically. So that's the only difference required for this hard fork.
Yeah. I got it from implementation point, but I wanted to have high-level overview. Thank you for this.
All right, hopefully that answers the question. Okay,
could you
so
comment on so you were saying that we may do another fork Could you comment on the potential breach updates?
Yeah, I don't remember actually what specifically is required. Because now that I think about it, maybe just a contract update might be sufficient. I don't remember exactly, but I also kind of want to get those Aura contracts cleaned up, and those are not upgradable. So we would have to do a hard fork for that. It's kind of a detail, so maybe we will discuss whether or not it's worth it doing a specific hard fork for the BRUP fee collector and like the Aura contracts cleanups. We will decide on it later. It's not set in stone. We will not necessarily do it. But yeah, we will. I mean, for sure, we will not do it for Denkun. All right. So regarding updates in general for Nethermind, are there any news?
Well, we don't have any particular updates, but we released an experimental version like 5 years ago with a snap serving enabled, and it's mostly it.
Perfect. When can we start testing this for Gnosis Chain?
Okay, so I think it requires some context, because I think you tried to test it, but I assume that you simply enabled a snap sync, and that is how you try to test it. But of course, we need to, first of all, have nodes on the network that will be able to serve this snap data. And yeah, our half path is experimental release for now, and it means that we don't see any obvious issues, but this is big change, and you know, we are majority client, so we need to be very careful here. And what's more, half path requires resync. Yeah, and there is one more thing. We are working on free solutions, basically, on our StateDB, and half-path is more or less ready, but there is also path-based, which for now at least doesn't show that big potential like half-path or Paprika. Yeah, and another is Paprika, and Paprika will come later for sure, because, for example, we don't have sync implementation here, etc. But again, if we go with Paprika, then again we will have to resync the nodes. Okay, Łukasz, you want to add something, and then I can.
Yeah, so basically we haven't decided yet on releasing schedule. So for example, if we know we will get Paprika fairly soon, which I think we want that very soon, we would only want to release Paprika. But for now, we could potentially release half-path for some time and release Paprika in a couple of months. That would be also helpful, because if people will start syncing with half-path, they can serve SnapSync. And if they can serve SnapSync, then it would be easier to syncing Paprika in the future, because SnapSync would be the only way to sync Paprika. So it's like an intermediate step for people who are doing a new sync. But we anticipate, so Denkun will happen now, and we will consider it for the next release. But we need a bit more testing, a bit more feedback, a bit more work there to think about it. But it's considered for the next release to release this state layout. Yes, Marek?
Yes, and I'm not sure if we decided already if it will be under the flag or if it will be by default for new nodes. Because yeah, maybe we will release it under the flag and then default for the new nodes. And anyway, we will have to have enough new nodes with half-path to be able to serve SnapSync. So it's not only about, you know, our implementation readiness, but network readiness as well. Does it
Right,
make
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Especially because if you enable snap sync, then it will just not sync without a snap server, right?
Exactly. So it needs to go in this way that first of all, we will kind of deliver half path, and then we can test locally how is it going, how networks, how many peers are in network with Snap server, and on some point of time, we will see that Snap sync is better than fast sync, so we can start switching default configs to use Snap sync. That is how I see that.
Yeah, so first users, even with half-path, would still sync the same way as it's being synced now, so they won't see any speed up with SnapSync, right? Until we build some user base that people can find peers with SnapSync, then the new syncs will be faster.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Anything else for Nethermind? Okay, well then let's move on to Erigon.
Well, no specific updates except for I'm looking into why the DB is bloating up still.
All right, thank you. And then Guillaume for Geth.
So I found, thanks to Somnat and Tanishq also, I found my issue. So just this morning, so it started syncing again. So basically, yeah, it was a mix between London and the free transactions. I was just, there was a location I missed for the free transaction, so it was charging, it was burning the fee, so it was crediting the burn contract, but it was also crediting the Coinbase regardless. So I fixed that, and yeah, it's been syncing since. I think we're roughly at 300,000 blocks past the previous issue. So the next big stop, the one I expect at least, is when there is a contract rewrite around block 21 million, and then there's the merge. And after the merge, I already confirmed that I can sync. So I can't promise it will sync in time for Denkun, but yeah, at least so far it's working fine. Yep, that's it.
All right, perfect. And is this technically compatible with Denkun?
No, I will have to rebase, but I mean, technically, yes. I just have to rebase to get the latest Denkun changes and implement whatever flavor of Denkun is implemented in Gnosis Chain. But apart from that, yeah, I mean, that should not be the problem. I hope I didn't jinx myself saying this, but it should be. I think the biggest problem are behind me now.
Well, honestly, it should be one of the easier hard forks, at least, because we didn't change a lot based on mainnet, so we'll see. All right, Gateway, do you have any updates?
Well, okay. The current status that we have the RPC nodes with the Erigon Lighthouse and Nethermind Lighthouse pairs, and for validators, Erigon Lighthouse is still work in progress, but I think that this week we're gonna deliver this already.
All right, thank you. It was a bit slow to type things up here. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this week. Are there any comments or questions, maybe in particular? I mean, I guess we went over it sufficiently, but regarding like the potential future mainnet hard fork.
Do we have all consensus clients updated their configuration?
Yes. All the consensus layer clients are updated and have been for 2 to 3 weeks, I think, maybe even more.
Felipe, what was your question about hard fork? I didn't get that.
Just if there's needs to discuss a bit more, like the potential future hard fork for blob fee corrector.
Oh, okay.
I think this is kind of obvious what we need to do. Maybe you mentioned this breach thing, and this is not clear, but I think yeah, it will be shared later by you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely something I still need to talk with, I mean, the bridge team about. So yeah, I don't have all the information yet. But I mean, even then, most likely it's just going to be contract upgrades that are currently locked behind non-upgradable proxies, or at least proxies, but that don't have like a set implementation function. So that would just be it. All right, so if there's no other questions or comments, see you next week. Of course, still feel free to post anything on Telegram if necessary. Someone talked, I didn't hear.
Yeah, one last thing. I'm trying to write the specs retroactively for all code. That's why I'm asking questions about the base. So thank you, Marek, for taking a look. But if anyone else has any historical context on a bit of archaeological work, please keep some eyes in the chat. After the ABs, I will try to do more thoroughly, at least the pre-merge postDAO. Maybe I will see how annoying that is. But yeah, just bear with me, and thank you.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you, guys, and yeah, see you next week.
Thank you.
On Monday, of
Bye.
course, not Wednesday.
Bye.
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 Bye.